Both of these are symptomatic of the same thing. Dating is like fucking humiliating. Caring about someone is fucking humiliating. It's like one of the worst feelings ever. One of the worst feelings is like when you put a bunch of mental energy into really wanting someone to like you, and you think things are going well, and then you just see them, they'll like fucking pop up somewhere having fun without you, or you realize that you've been blown off, or that being rejected by a person on a romantic or sexual basis sucks because we mystify these things so much. We think that all sex is part of love and says something about ourselves, when really, like, sometimes people just aren't made to fuck each other. Some types of people aren't just supposed to fuck each other, and it's all right. But because it's like a deeply humiliating and tough thing to do, no matter how old you are, I think that the only way for a lot of people to take it back is to make this narrative that, like, hey, either all the people I try to fuck or do fuck are stupid, or that I'm narrating this goofy, funny, madcap part of my life, when the truth is they're just kind of embarrassed and they're having a rough time.
Yeah.
Many people are. That's all right.
It's the same thing with the girl who talks about having sex a lot or having bad dates a lot, and guys who talk about never getting laid or having lots of sex. It's all part of the same thing, like you said, where the reality of it is probably far less interesting. And I feel like something grew out of the internet in the same way that WebMD has told like 1 million people that they had cancer when really they just farted. Like, there are so many articles, and the natural thing with any human is to crave a schemata for something that is chaotic. And really, dating is fucking... I'd actually take it a step back from what you said. Really, dating is a great deal of just fucking knocking your head against a wall. I can understand why a guy would be frustrated about a bunch of shitty dates and having to pay for them, in the same way that I could understand a woman going on a bunch of dates and having a bunch of shitty guys pay for them and expect something from it, and both parties just fucking knocking their heads against the wall. And it's like Twitter is this, or Facebook is this place to relieve that tension, but at the same time they're going online. And you'll see these performative pieces like, we'd only been dating for 11 days and I blurted out, will you marry me? This oversharing is there because...
Oh, I hate stuff like that. I hate stuff like that, not just because I've been unable to sustain any relationship for longer than 4 months. Actually, that actually might be the only reason. But I hate that when you see someone who's like, we met when we reached for the same record at the fucking... charity record store for amputees, and after only 11 days he moved in with me and we finished each other's sentences, and I'm like, I can't wait till one of you gets caught in a horny DM scandal. Fuck you. But that's the other side of it. That's the other side of it, though, isn't it? Because if the constant narrative of I only seem to date shitty people, or I'm in control of my love life by talking about how awful it is, by controlling this narrative, then the other side of the constant humiliation and degradation and feelings of worthlessness around dating are to claim that you've figured it out in some way.
I think
no one has. I mean, most of these things end in divorce, don't they? Like,
it's okay. It's okay that I was divorced, man. And it's okay you were divorced from Elizabeth Holmes as well.
Well, we were never formally married. It was more like
it was poly.
Common law divorce.
It was divorce by fighting. But it's weird though. Like, something that occurs to me about this as well is, you're right. It's this structure people are building up. If you, as a woman, build up this thing where it's like your fans, it's Sex and the City again. It's why a lot of girls, despite the fact that Carrie Bradshaw is like a shitty person throughout the whole show and lucks into everything she gets, they idolize this woman because it's something to grapple hold of. This woman who everything goes right for her, and sure, she has shitty things happen, but it ends. She works something out, when real life doesn't actually have an end other than dying. And there is no guarantee, there is actually no narrative to life. And I think that that's possibly why social media has got these people building these characters, because it is this idea of control, and why people love sharing these fucking shitty stories, like these guys who DM them like, I want to put my dick in your ear. Like, they they see these things and they're terrible. And before it would be like, wow, like if a guy said that in real life, because it's symptomatic of the internet and anyone being able to do it, it's this thing where by sharing it, they feel perhaps less violated, or maybe they just feel like they're just in however many however many acts there are to their life. This is like the low point in the middle, like the Empire Strikes Back of their dating life, and that any moment now it's just gonna swing up, guy and girl. I've seen guys post just as many fucking like weird shit that women have said to them.
Isn't that weird how that sort of like betrays class or like socioeconomic origin or anything? Like, I always make fun of the Midwestern DUI guys who are like, my life's about to turn around. Like, I just learned how to believe in myself. But really, like, upper professional class people are the same fucking way because their dating life has just been this litany of humiliating failures. But they're like, yeah, that's just like, it's how you find the one. It's how you find love, yo. And everyone believes in this sort of success equals failure formula. And I guess you kind of have to. It's like an opiate a bit. Like one of the ways you can only live in such a humiliating life in society is by just declaring that success is around the corner constantly. I always make fun of MMA fighters for being the most delusional professionals on earth because they have to be. You have to believe that you're going to be the top 0.1 of 1% of fighters who actually make money and can beat everybody's asses, and you're going to be a champion. But you know, there's another truism I make fun of, and that's when fighters go, everyone's a fighter. But they are, because we all need that level of self-delusion to be alive.
Yeah, and the recent thing this week about like why men should never hit on a woman who's wearing headphones, I'm guilty of joining in on that joke because that article was just funny and definitely written. Like, definitely is the guy has, I haven't checked, but I assume he's already said it was written as a troll, but it wasn't. He just fucked up. But they're again, it comes back to this idea of the Twitterverse being larger than it really is. When really, in real life, are there that many Redditor types who go up to a woman and are like actually frustrated that she has headphones on? Or is it just that there are a few hundred of these dudes who have done it? And like how many of these situations have actually happened? And really it is this like the reaction to it by woman is totally fair, but it's cathartic. Like the kind of dogpiling on this idea of like why men should never hit on a woman who's wearing headphones. It's the same thing as why you don't walk up to a woman in a car at a fucking traffic stop, like knocking a window, but like, hey, you're cute. You want to like pull over and like give me your number? It's the same shit. Like, it's just.
I love hijacking a plane and making the pilot fly dangerously close to another plane so I can wave to a sweetie in the window. Because I saw her at my adjacent terminal.
I regularly walk outside and discharge my shotgun to catch the attention of a woman walking by.
Well, that thing was so cathartic because, like, I haven't really, like, barely left the house in the past, like, week because I've been so fucking busy. But, you know, every time I do, you know, first of all, don't recommend it. It's no terrible. Good. Don't leave the house. Second of all, like, I just always, like, men are always just, like, being unbearable with women. I watched the movie, I have to watch the movie Remember Me for this article that I have to write. And, like, every scene in the movie is Robert Pattinson. He has, like, the shittiest New York accent ever. He sounds like if James Dean filled a bunch of chewing gum with thumbtacks and just chewed on it for 3 hours.
Is that the one with the really bizarre ending?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm writing an article about 9/11 movies, but I
also, by the way, like just saying, I hate it when a relationship you're in ends with 9/11.
I hate that. That's the worst. That's the worst.
Again? Jesus. But keep going, sorry.
Oh, Jesus, stop it, guys. Well, like every scene where like he gets laid in the movie, he like just goes up to a woman and like is annoying to her. Like he goes when he meets like the main love interest in the movie, he's like, "So I'm doing a sociological experiment. You gotta. I want you to prove that my friend over there is wrong." Like, I don't even know what the fuck kind of accent he has. It just drove me crazy the entire movie.
Yeah,
but that's like a thing in movies where That's like what the hot guy does. He like goes up to the woman and he's like, I'm having a sociological experiment, and he ends up banging her for some
somehow.
reason. But like I see guys try to replicate that in real life, and it's just like fucking brutal. It's painful. And you feel bad for guys because it's humiliating to be that much of a doofus. But you feel worse for women because there's like one of the worst things you can experience is someone humiliating themselves in front of you and you having to be part of it. Like you're the only other part of it. Like that's a fucking terrible position to be in. I think that's why the headphones thing was so cathartic, because if I was a woman, I would wear headphones like everywhere. So like no guy would go up to me and be like, I got a magic trick.
I think this is totally, I think this is totally also, let's step back for a moment. I get pissed off when anyone asks me to take off my fucking headphones. You walk up to me and you're like, hey, can you take off your headphones? Or if I'm in like a Lyft or an Uber and they're like, excuse me. I'm like angrier than I am even when my phone rings, which is the second most annoying thing. And like, so the idea of someone doing that and then being like, I want to show you a magic trick. And for some reason you became Jared Leto's Joker there and I liked it. Like, that must be the most...
Well, that's what the movie...
Suicide Squad. How did you forget?
That's what that movie was about. Was it like Jared Leto, like he like by being evil, he was like, he learned how to get laid. He was like, he went up to Harley Quinn and he's like, you want to see a knife trick?
But that's it. And I think that what this is, and like all great scumbag topics, you can draw the line from men and women back to desperation and back to access. That this is what gives, like, people are able to get online all over the world. They're able to access so much in the world. They're able to speak to everyone everywhere. And that's great in some ways and so fucking horrible in others. Because, Jesus, it gives the ability for anyone to talk to anyone, theoretically, and that just means someone's going to say something terrible. So it goes from, like, those horny guys, building from one of our original things, those horny guys who are like, hello, moi, sweetie, touch boo-boos, there must be, and I'm not purporting to know what these guys are like, I'm just guessing this is what must be part of it. Is there, like, the beginning of this hierarchy of, all right there is just a guy who's like, man, I'd really like to have sex with that girl. I like her bobos. I'm going to tell her. And there's something pure about that, purer than whatever other thing there is there. But there's this desperation. If you go and look up dating tips on Google News or something, there'll be like 18 articles like dating tips for this and that. And that's the problem. It's the game FAQs syndrome for men, where they're like, they've gone online, they're like, I can't get woman. And they've not done the introspection of it. Maybe they don't look attractive. Maybe the guy just is not, like, attractive to the girl he wants. But that'd be a horrible thing to face because it would require effort. But it's like they are looking for it. And that's where things like starting with like the game began. But now while you've got these crazy like MRA types who are like, maybe this is how I fix it. Maybe this problem is not me, it's woman. And conversely, you've got women who are beset just in normal dating with guys they meet at bars, just being fucking rude or just being shitty on the path to trying to get laid. They see this story about guys don't tell me to take off your headphones. That's horrible. They see that, and it reflects a far more interesting version of what is probably just a series of really just fucking annoying yet boring situations. If you think of all the dates you've been on, like, really? They're probably just shit. They're not terrible, they're not newsworthy, and they're not particularly interesting to tweet about. If you told your friends about them, they'd just be like, okay. And that's the thing. I feel like that is what gets these people. That is what creates a lot of these situations, be it the performative man or woman talking about their dating life so much, be it the sweeties of our world. It's just desperation. And they read these dating tip articles for guys, or they read them for girls, and they sit there and they say, shit, I'll try this time, instead of like thinking of just what may be just the basic human thing of the truth of dating is that it's just repetitive and painful and may work out, but probably won't. Which doesn't mean you shouldn't try, but it's kind of the cost of doing so. In the same way that going to the gym...
Yeah, the cost of doing business is constant psychic pain.
It really is. And it's not as bad as that sounds, but it's true. And it's boring. That's the worst thing.
It's a part of life.
It's boring, though. And it's like, so if you...
Yeah, it's so boring. Holy shit. I like deleted Tinder because Tinder because all the conversations I got in were so boring. I don't want to explain my job to people. Holy shit.
Well, every time I go on Tinder, I try my best to get it away from Tinder and onto text so that it would be like some form of conversation and so that I could get to an actual date where we were face to face and talking so that I could just, and sure, these dating sites have a great deal. Thousands of horrible fucking guys. But like, I bet there's a hell of a lot who are just fucking boring. Same way as just most people are boring. And I think that all of this, everything from Hello Sweetie Misha Penis now, all the way up to an account that is talking about all of the hot girl, like there's this one brilliant one, I need to find it, where it's like this guy talking about going to beaches and like banging models. They're all the same thing of, your real life just can't be this interesting. It just isn't. It's just, this is how...
No, it's not. It never is.
And by dramatizing it, and everyone dramatizes every story just by being human. And it's worse when you have to, like, dramatize the environment that people see you through. And I don't think it's as conscious as people think. I really don't.
No, yeah, I think that like part of human memory is to like just smooth out the dull and weird parts that escape a social narrative. And the story you end up telling is the version of events that you wish happened on some levels. On some level, we don't tell any stories that we don't want to tell.
Yeah. And it's like you and I would say, are pretty honest on Twitter. But by accident, we're performative. It's true. We definitely are.
Oh, like my honesty is performative. Like, I mean, there's probably a part of there where I'm thinking about it on some level. Like, wow, this is like, I don't see anyone else like talking about this. So like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Like that's performance too. No one's free from performance, and having any aspect of performance in your presence or in your being isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's good to recognize it, I think.
Yeah.
It's good to recognize as many things as possible about ourselves.
And dating online, and I realize not dated in a while. And in case my fiance's listening, literally since the first day, I love you. But seriously, it's this thing where online dating in general is just chaotic for guys. And I think that this is where a lot of, and this is absolutely not saying their actions are okay. I think the frustration is that if you go on OkCupid and like try and message woman, you're going to message ones you find attractive. Like that's just the thing, because you find them attractive because you want to do the sex thing with them. And sadly, the girls you find attractive, I'm guessing probably lots of guys find attractive. So if you don't stand out, there are less mentally composed people who might take that as an insult that doesn't exist. And sadly, I'd say most people are more likely to have that reaction, perhaps not to say anything, but to take offense from it, versus the more human reaction of just being fucking disappointed. Like, oh, this girl's profile was good and I didn't get a response. That's frustrating. Versus like, fuck all woman, yeah. But that's definitely where a lot of this MRA shit grew from. It's definitely where the game came from, where you can't... The horrible thing you have to realize is just that girl you really like, that you really fell for, just doesn't like you as much, or just doesn't like you at all. No, it's that there's a feminist conspiracy, or maybe it's that I'm not doing it right and I need to create this step of like 10 things involving like a door and like a noose. Like it's this weird like gamification for guys to the point of horror show fuckers who are like, fuck woman, as you stay in the kitchen. And for girls, it's just, I can only imagine it's just terrifying. It's just like dating sucks for both parties, but for women, you've got the added beauty of guys just being fucking gross, and then the things that guys get as well, which is just most dates just being boring as fuck.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it just, it's internalized rage and hatred and embarrassment.
welcome back to the Scumbag. If you're enjoying our conversation about relationships, well, it's your fucking problem, because we had a technological issue. Felix actually severed his penis.